Hello everyone, today I want to talk about behavioral reduction, one of my favorite topics in this class. All the information that I got to make this presentation came from a class textbook by Diaz and Claudio, written in 2019. First, I wanted to talk about the importance of behavioral reduction in the field of ABA. Number one, it is one of the key interventions applied behavioral analysis do in exception to skill acquisition. This intervention method focuses on problematic behaviors that are maladaptive, and changing those behaviors into something that would be more appropriate. Before you go and try to change behaviors carelessly, you need to understand first the function of behaviors. So one of the reasons why someone may engage into a behavior is to escape something. For an example, if I were to put you in a room full of spiders, your behavior would be motivated to escape the room full of spiders. Another reason why someone might engage in a certain behavior is a tangible motivation. This would motivate someone to engage in a behavior to get something. For an example, if someone is not letting you play on your Nintendo Switch and you hit someone and then they give you your Nintendo Switch, then that motivation would be a tangible trying to get something. The third motivation of behavior would be attention. So, for an example, if you were to hit a kid because someone was ignoring you and then you got that attention, in the future you would be more likely, whenever you're not getting someone's attention, to start hitting people. And the final reason for behavior is sensory. Sensory behaviors are automatic and can be motivated by multiple reasons. For an example, someone who bites their nails may do it in a means of self-soothing or just out of boredom. Now that you've figured out the why of the behavior, now it's how are we going to fix that? And there are two types of behavioral interventions: antecedent behavioral intervention and consequence behavioral intervention. Now, antecedent would focus on changing the antecedent, the preventative type of intervention, while consequential would focus on changing the consequence of the behavior. In the antecedent category of intervention, you have non-contingent, which delivers reinforcement not dependent on behavior. So for an example, if you were to get a gummy bear just at a random point of time and you don't have to hit someone for that gummy bear, then that would decrease the behavior because they would not need to engage in the behavior to get what they want. Another example of antecedent behavioral intervention is environmental manipulation. For an example, going back to the room full of spiders, let's say if you wanted to be mean and lock the door and prevent them from escape, over time the behavior that they engage in will cease because they will realize that there is no use in using that behavior to escape. The final behavioral intervention and antecedent is the high probability request sequence. Now, this technique reminds me the most of a door-to-door salesman. First, they start off with a small, easy-to-do request, such as getting them a glass of water. And as you continue doing these small requests for them, then that increases the likelihood that you do something that was less probable of you to do in the first place. For an example, like buying this vacuum cleaner. Consequence-based intervention would focus on an extinction of the reinforcement. For an example, if someone were to hit for attention, you would not give them attention. Now, the issue with this is that it might cause an extinction burst, where the person will increase the frequency or intensity of their behavior so that you give them attention. The final topic of behavioral reduction that I want to talk about is differential reinforcement versus punishments. In differential reinforcement, some behavior is reinforced while others will be extinct. For example, in DRA, you would be reinforcing the alternate behavior. In DRI, you would be reinforcing behavior that would be incompatible with the maladapted behavior. For an example, if someone is hitting someone, well, if they have to shake their hands constantly, and you reinforce that shaking of the hands, then they can't engage in the shaking hands and punching someone. DRO would reinforce when a behavior is not emitted during a predetermined interval of time. Now that we talked about the golden child of differential reinforcement, now it's time to talk about the sibling that no one likes, punishment. Punishment tries to reduce the future probability of a behavior. One example of a punishment is an unconditioned punishment. This does not use anything that has been conditioned. So this would be focusing on bodily reactions such as pain, shock, satisfaction. Conditioned punishments would instead use stimulus paired with an in-conditioned. So for an example, if you're thinking of Pavlov's dog, he conditioned his dog to, whenever he hears the bell ring, to salivate by connecting the bell ringing and whenever the dog got food. Positive punishments would present a stimulus to reduce the future probability of a behavior, while negative punishment would take away a stimulus to reduce the probability of a behavior. In applied behavioral analysis, punishment is seen as a last resort and should only be used if someone is being a threat to themselves or others. Thank you for watching my video on behavioral intervention. I hope you have a great day.